What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 19 of Purple Parlor. It's your boy SK. I'm here with Realistic Randy. No rap tonight, unfortunately, due to the kind of schedule conflicts with the Monday night game. But hey, we're here. Vikings are 12-2, and the number one seed in the NFC is in play. And you know we're gonna get right down to it right after this.
I say the same. I say the same. I say the same. Alright.
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy SK. I'm here with my guy, Realistic Randy. This is 2/3 of the Purple Parlor tonight. So it's just you and me, Randy. We're throwing it back to our Skull Weekly days. But the Vikings are 12-2. Take care of the Bears handily. Maybe a little kind of boring at times, but handily. 18-point win, 12-2, and the number one seed is in our sights. How are we feeling?
Well, boring. That's how you win playoff games. So that I'm gonna take that as the Vikings. They're taking this as practice to get ready for the real thing. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how I'm feeling, SK. I wasn't around in '98 for the Gary Anderson miss for the Vikings to get to the Super Bowl. I became a fan in 2000, but I didn't experience my first heartbreak until I think it was '03 regular season finale, ending by the hands of our very own quarterback coach, Josh
Yeah.
McCown, knocking the Vikings out of making it into the playoffs. And then you get to '09, the Brett Favre interception. Although the Saints, they cheated in that one. We know about the Bounty Gate scandal.
Yeah.
And then Blair Walsh, and then 2017 NFC Championship game. The point is that we've had, as Vikings fans, years upon years of experience of traumatic endings to the Vikings seasons.
Yeah.
So where in situations, if they just take advantage, if they handle business, they're in a good spot, but they always find a way to fall flat on their face. Going into the Bears game last night, we were waiting for how many weeks now for the Lions to screw up, and they finally did. And
Yep.
you know what happened, SK? I went into that game last night against the Bears, and I didn't have any of that PTSD. I didn't have any of that trauma or just waiting, oh man, how are they going to screw this up? Because this is a new team. Like, they know how to handle business. And even with that fourth down call where I believe they should have went for the field goal, instead they go for it and it turns into an interception. I never felt at one time that the Vikings are in danger. Like, this is really a new chapter in Vikings football history that we can look back on. And I forgot to include 4th and 8 in 2022. That's another trauma added to the list of trauma that already exists for me and for us
Yeah.
Vikings fans. But this is different, man. The Vikings, they are true contenders. KOC has gotten much sharper in his situational play calling. And whether you get a masterful performance from Sam Darnold or not, it's like yin and yang. You either get a great game from Sam Darnold or you get a great game from the defense, or sometimes both of those two things combine for the ultimate game where the Vikings just kick ass. But they went into that game last night and I felt great. I think that was the most calm that I've been this season since week 1 against the Giants. So I'm feeling great. 12-2. Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, when I said boring, obviously, I'm not disappointed. It's an 18-point win. We've been begging for double-digit wins for the longest time. We have, I believe, 4 or 5 of them now that just in this season, which we didn't have any in the previous 3 or 4 seasons. So, I mean, I'm excited. Number one seeds within grass. That's exactly what we wanted. The
Yeah.
Lions fell short against the Bills. I mean, these damn Eagles are looking real good right now, but hopefully we won't have to worry about them until the NFC Championship game. So everything's kind of falling into place, and I'll never bask in another team's injuries or kind of celebrate that. But with the Lions getting so banged up, losing David Montgomery for the year, that's a huge hit. Losing Carlton Davis for the year, I believe, and then McNeil, as it Alan McNeil, something like
I
that.
think it's Aleem
Aleem
McNeil.
McNeil, which that's their run stopper. That's their anchor in the middle. And as we know in the NFL, if you want to be a contending team, you got to have somebody in the middle that can man the fort. And that was their guy. And they just signed him to an extension this offseason, right before the season started, too. So they're dropping like flies over there in Detroit, which it's kind of, ironic with how they kind of went on their run last year and kind of how they're carrying themselves this year of biting kneecaps and actually taking out kneecaps of multiple tight ends. But that's not the point here. But with the Lions kind of getting banged up like that, it opens the door and it makes you feel a little bit more, hey, look, things might be opening up for the Minnesota Vikings here. Even with the Eagles, you look at the Eagles, they're having fights on the sideline every game, even though they're up 20, 21 points. You have coaches screaming at each other on the sideline. So there's some type of broken link in the chain over there in Philadelphia, which it kind of makes you feel good. You got a good, strong locker room. You're 12-2. Nobody's talking about you, which surprises me. Like, there's people kind of giving us credit out there, but it's still the Eagles, not so much the Lions because they're banged up, but they just skip right over us and go straight to the Packers.
All
All
the
the
time.
Packers are just they're a contending team. Don't be surprised if the Packers go to the Super Bowl. What about us? We're 12-2. We already beat the Packers. We can't get no love, but
I think the fact is it's because the Vikings aren't that sexy team.
yeah,
They never have been, and that's okay. So we look for narratives to keep the drive going. I think I saw on ESPN where they had their top contending teams, and I think top 5. I don't remember what show it was from, but the Packers went in at 5, and the Vikings weren't even included. So I've
yeah,
learned just to be like whatever when it comes to the media. It's funny how the national media catches up to what it is that we've been talking about for months on end. And going back to Philly real quick, yeah, you see how they force fed the ball to AJ Brown to start the
yeah.
game to get him
Mhm.
happy. Hey, come on, bro. Hey, it's all good in here. We can win games, and like, bro, you just won your 9th straight game before this past game on Sunday. And you're sitting there complaining about the passing game, bro. You're winning, but they're trying to keep their, I guess, their talent, their diva receivers happy. And not just as far as the coach going after his players, he's going after the fans, Nick
Yeah,
Sirianni. I guess the
yeah,
point is the Vikings, they can beat anybody. And we don't need anybody else outside of those that are in tune with this team to give us validation. They have shown that they can beat anybody, anytime, any place. Now, with that said, I do want that any place to be at US Bank Stadium because that's the ultimate advantage that you want. But
yeah,
nah, man, this team, they are primed to make a true playoff run. And we'll see where it ends up. But the way that this season has gone, it's had its moments where there was a little bit of frustration. But nah, this team is for real. Whether
yeah.
FS1 or ESPN or any of the other talking heads want to give that credence or not. We don't need them.
Yeah, and you mentioned the biggest thing for me personally. You mentioned it earlier is that it's the confidence level or the comfort you have with this team saying, like, we're good. Even we can go back to the Jags game and the Tennessee game to where things may have got a little tight at a certain point in the Tennessee game, and then obviously the Jaguars game was just
No,
twelve
that
to
was
seven,
awful.
just kind of hanging around.
Yeah.
I was never really that concerned. My nerves weren't up as much as they've been in years past. So, I mean, you look at this game, 10 penalties. Yes, it was only for 56 yards, but 10 penalties, and a lot of those were in kind of the worst times to have penalties, giving the team first downs, holding. Cam Robinson had a really rough game.
Dude.
But hey, look, get it out of your system now. Get it out of
Maybe
your
he was
system now.
intimidated by the home crowd. Maybe it was too
Yeah.
much for him.
Yeah, yeah, something. But I think he had 4 penalties on the day.
I counted 4.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there, but you look at the stats of the game. Yeah, we outgained them 329 to 284. Passing yards 215 to 171. Rushing yards was even for the most part. 113 for the Bears, 114 for the Vikings. This was the big difference in this game. Third down efficiency. We were 7 for 14, 50%. The Bears were 1 for 12 on third down. And I believe that first third down conversion came late in the game where it was just kind of we're playing prevent defense, which they still couldn't move the ball necessarily. There was just a couple chunk plays that they were able to get in that second half to kind of make it look like it's a little closer than what it was. But 1 for 12 on third down, 1 for 3 on fourth down, 2 sacks. They had 9 penalties for 93 yards. So they, undisciplined team, which the Bears are just really bad right now. You mentioned the interception from Sam Darnold. I'm not mad at that. You look at that, you look at the context of that play. It was fourth down. If it's incomplete, you give them an extra 15 yards. So you punted the ball for 15 yards. It just ended up being an interception. And then the time of possession was dead even, pretty much 30 minutes to 29. But again, these are one of those games where it's quote unquote a trap game. The Bears are bad, but it's on Monday night. It's a divisional rival. We've seen this before. And the Minnesota Vikings said, no, this is not the same Vikings team. We're going to take care of business here. Even though it seemed slow at times, it seemed like we should have pulled away a whole lot earlier, especially with Justin Jefferson dropping that pass that should have been a touchdown, which kind of sucked. I would like to see him get 2. But Vikings win 30-12. You got to be happy, 12-2, and then the race for the number 1 seed. So
Did you say the Bears last night, they converted just 1 third down?
1 third down.
And so normally that's where if you can't convert your third downs, like you're cooked, right?
Yeah.
And this brings me back to the Vikings and why they're special this year. Going back to the Arizona Cardinals game, they converted just 1 third down in their victory, 23-22. They went 1 for 8 in third down efficiency. But for every other team where you have a stat that's so lopsided to the other team, where normally 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose those games. Well, that 1 out of 10 opportunity for the chance to win that game, the Vikings find ways to get wins. And that's what's crazy. Even when it statistically doesn't make sense in the box score to where you should absolutely lose that game, it doesn't apply to the 2024 Vikings. 1 third down conversion against the Arizona Cardinals, and they won that game.
Yeah.
But for the Bears, last night, they lost.
Yeah, so we're 2 of 2 on those.
What was the other one?
The Cardinals. I'm trying to think of another game where our third down defense was this good.
I get what you're saying. Facts.
It might have been Houston, but Houston got some first downs later on in that game, I think. But it might have been Houston where their third down efficiency was just really bad. But credit to Brian Flores and his defense again. I mean, they continue to impress. This is without Ivan Pace as well. With how much weight a lot of us put in Ivan Pace in this defense. Got to give a shout out to, is it Jamin Davis? Guy we brought in from Packers practice squad. Dude's playing pretty good.
I pronounce it as Jamin Davis, but I'm sure I've got it wrong.
Jamin. I'm going to just call him Jamin Davis. But, I mean, guys are stepping up. Blake Cashman had a great game yesterday. I wish Van Ginkel would have blocked the right dude downfield, and we would have had a scoop and score on that initial fumble from Caleb Williams, which probably would have won me my fantasy playoff game. But nonetheless, I'll take the 30-12 win. How did you feel about the Winter Whiteout uniforms real quick? What did you think? Honest take. I know you're not going to be biased or try and pander to the crowd. What was your honest take on the Winter Whiteout jerseys?
So I was asked about this several times last night in the live stream, and I kept it very PC in terms of like for a single game in the season, I get it, Winter Whiteout, but that jersey's not for me. I
Yeah.
personally would not buy it. I'm not a fan of all white anything to begin with. With that said, if I wish there were some variations of like color lines or something. It's just all white. You got the purple numbers, and then even the lettering of Vikings is super thin to where you can't really see it at all. It looks like they're wearing white ass long johns,
Yeah.
quite honestly. But it works for a game. I'm not going to hate
Yeah.
on it, but it's personally those jerseys they're not for me.
Yeah. Nah, I like them up close. Up close, you
Mhm.
can see the detail of them, especially in the helmet. I like them a lot. But when you watch them on kind of the telecast, it just doesn't it I don't like it. It's too much white. I get the winter whiteout. You got to overly do the white, but I need a little bit more purple in there or something. There's like I know you took all the gold out or whatever, but we need a little bit more purple. I liked how they kind of changed up the purple to more like a dark royal kind of purple. That's cool. I like it. I like the whole kind of winter whiteout theme and us doing something different because Vikings fans, we've been asking for something like an alternate jersey or something different for years. And we finally
Yeah.
got it last year with the throwback, and then we finally got the whiteout with the white helmet. I like the white helmet though. I think the white helmet would
I
actually look
like it too.
fire with like I mean throw it with the purple jersey and white pants. Like it might be fire with that. But yeah, I
I think
wasn't
they need to spend a little bit more time on it, but they probably
yeah.
won't. But for me, they would have to. I just need just some even if it's singular lines in different
Mhm.
directions that can at least provide some sort of color balance. Instead, it I don't know. They just look like jammies to me.
I feel like they could add that little Norseman knot and like put it somewhere on the jersey for with purple or silver and might make it pop a little more. But yeah, I think they need to do some tweaks to that. But again, I like the whole setting and the theme and everything. It gets the crowd into it. The crowd did a great job of being in all white for the most part. Now, when they
Yeah.
showed close-ups of some people, I kind of got mad. So I'm like, dude, why aren't you wearing white? Why are you in all purple? Like, did you not get the memo? But it looked like overall the crowd did a pretty good job at that winter whiteout. We kind of looked like Penn State out there on their
Yeah.
whiteout
Yeah.
nights, which is
That's
pretty
true.
dope. So I heard the kind of the energy in the building was ridiculous. So that's always fun. Got to make sure you bring the energy on Monday night. But yeah, let's get to these comments real quick. Get some shout outs. I know you guys been waiting. Quiet Storm Wheeze, he was on before we even got on live. What up, Skull Gang? Papa Gary, what's going on? Papa Gary, Sodak Kid said he's driving. He's listening though. Yeah, make
Nice.
sure you tap in onto the Spotify too of our previous episodes if you want to catch up on anything. We are on Spotify. Cody Fullen tapping in, Skull 12 and 2. Jay Guidos, what's up, Jay? Shout out Jay, man. Shout out Jay. Skull for life. Mr. Woosa. Hairball. Skull Mafia in the house. I was texting him earlier. Who else we got? I know I saw somebody else new in here. Kenitzo, welcome in, Kenitzo. Two Tone tapping in. And real quick, guys, if you haven't noticed already, I know we kind of made the announcement last week. We are monetized. We
Oh, that's
can do
right.
super
Yeah.
chats now. So if you notice anything different about the bottom of your screen where you make your comments, hey, if you just want to test it out, go ahead and test out that little icon there. Shoot us a super chat. We'll make sure to get to your comments as we kind of always do, or try to at least. I know Rap usually is the comment guy, but I'm trying, I'm filling in, next man up, next man up. Guidos again. Julian Barber, welcome in. Mr. Mock Draft, welcome in, guys. Appreciate you guys. But all right, moving on, man. 12 and 2. Lions lost. It's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
For us, the Lions, Eagles are all 12 and 2. The number 1 seed is wide open. If we win out, chances are we get that number 1 seed. I think if the Eagles went out, we finish with the same record. Something's weird has got to happen for
No,
them
I,
to
I
get
I
it or
saw
something.
something where it doesn't matter what the Eagles do, that if the
Mhm.
Vikings win out, they'll have the tiebreaker for whatever reason. I mean, I didn't get into the details, but all I needed to know was the Vikings actually do control their own destiny.
Yep.
So it's really all about the Vikings and the Lions. Now, granted, you have to win out because if you don't, and even if the Lions don't win out, then that gives the Eagles a chance to get the 1 seed. But this is all up to the Vikings. This is
Yeah.
their chance. I mean, this is their opportunity to keep doing what they have been doing and just get better and better each week. I don't even think that they have necessarily peaked. They've just been grinding their way all season long to wins, and it's the type of wins that's going to give you a deep playoff run. So they went out, and I think they can. I mean, you want to go through those 3 teams real quick?
Real quick, we kind of got some breaking news, Randy.
What?
Um, it kind of some people in the comments already know, and it
What?
has ties to Minnesota.
Hmm.
Kirk Cousins has officially been benched for Michael Penix.
I'm trying. It's funny because like after the Vikings whooped that ass last week, I was just sitting there saying I got everything off my
No,
chest. I went off on the guy. Now it's just sad. Like it was funny at first where we could
man.
just pile on and say, "Yep, we were right. The Vikings were correct in moving on. You are nothing but dead weight when it comes to any team, and you are expensive as hell. You're an expensive dead weight." And now it's just, oh, this is kind of pathetic. Even more so than what I already categorized him as. That is tough. So he got benched.
He officially got benched. Raheem Morris, head coach of the Falcons, put out the statement saying after
Oh,
reviewing some things, Michael Penix is going to be the starter.
I mean, that's what it is. That it almost parallels to Mike Zimmer. You were allowed to be cushy over in Minnesota. You get over to a bigger market in Dallas, and now everyone's calling for your job the first year. Kirk Cousins, bigger market, the Atlanta Falcons, you're struggling. And guess what? Over in Minnesota, where it was all sweet and all cushy, where
Mhm.
you had non-threatening backups to where, okay, if they can help you study the playbook, whatever, you had ultimate autonomy, and you don't have that in Atlanta anymore. And the fact that after signing that extension, that new contract, I think it's $100 million guaranteed on a $180 million contract, whatever it is, it's a bleep ton of money for him the first year of that contract, and you get benched mid-season. You can't hide anymore. Like you can hide
Yeah.
in Minnesota all your flaws and whatnot, but when the lights are brighter outside of small ass Minnesota, guess what? You're going to get exposed and change is going to happen. And I like it. It's one of those things where it's like, keep it coming, but also in the same breath, it's I don't feel bad for him, but it's just gotten sad to
I
this point.
Here's the only aspect I feel bad for Kirk for. I feel bad for Kirk because you can tell any type of magic, if you wanna call magic, or any type of anything left in the tank that you thought he had, he doesn't.
No, it's
Like,
over.
it's you can tell by the like, there was a play yesterday or Sunday where he couldn't even hand off the ball. Like, he couldn't get out far outside enough to hand the ball off, so he just tucked it himself and got it for, like, a 3-yard loss. So, that's where I feel bad for him. I feel bad for most athletes when that happens, and this may be the point in time where Kirk finally realizes now. I don't think finally, because he was playing at a fairly high level when before the injury. Not
Oh,
elite,
yeah, yeah.
not elite. Before the injury, he was playing at a very good level as a top 12 quarterback in the league until he got injured.
Mhm.
But it's sad when you see athletes realize, okay, I don't got it anymore. Like, this is it. Like, he's going to have plenty of opportunities outside of football, I'm sure, with his Christianity or with whatever else he decides to do. Where I don't feel bad for him for is the dude's made, like, I think the most money, like, ever. Like, so
And he was
why would we feel bad about it?
super aggressive in negotiations for this
Yeah,
past offseason. So if you're gonna do all that shit talking and you want this amount of dollars, no questions asked, then when you get those dollars that you asked for, then you better ball out. So the
yeah,
situation in itself is sad, but it's pathetic. I mean, good
yeah,
riddance. And the Vikings, I mean, every single week. the case for the Vikings gets stronger and stronger. I don't know if it can get any stronger than what it already has been, that they made the right decision moving forward. And now they're
Yeah.
12-2. They're one of the best teams in the NFC, in the league, have a chance to be the best team in the NFC without Kirk Cousins. Meanwhile, the Falcons,
Mm.
they might make the playoffs, but only if the Bucks and the Rams fall apart in that. Well, not even the Bucks, more so in the NFC South.
Yeah, so they just need the Bucks to lose once. If they end with the same record, they have the tiebreaker. So the Falcons, they're one game back. They're still in it, and you're gonna get to see what Michael Penix is really about. So, and usually when teams they start a new quarterback, at least a quarterback that has some talent, you get a little boost those
Yeah,
first couple games.
yeah.
So, sorry, Falcons aren't done by any means, but yeah, just had to give that little breaking news there. That is a breaking
Well,
news story
hey,
for
hold on. No,
Vikings
keep
fans.
talking real quick because I want to go over these cap numbers real quick just to see how screwed the
We're gonna spend
Falcons
a little
are.
time on this. We're gonna spend a little
Because
time
there's
on
no way.
this.
It's not just, oh, he sucks this year. We're going with Penix Jr. and we can move on from that. No, this dude. Oh, snap. Okay, so they
There's a no
are
trade
stuck.
clause. There's no
There's a no,
trade clause in
there's a no trade clause. I want all this money, right?
there.
And I have all the power. I want a no trade clause, damn it. The hell are we talking about, bro? All right. So they're stuck with him for 2025. And then they do have an out in 26. But if they cut him in 26, they're going to take on a dead cap hit of $25 million, which,
Oof.
I mean, on the surface, that sounds bad. But the Vikings right now, they're taking a cap hit of $28.5 million from Kirk Cousins. Guess what?
Yeah.
We got Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah to be able to work around that and still put a roster together to where you can still have a 12-2 record through your first 14 games. The Falcons, do they have a GM? Do they have a front office that's as good as Kwesi to work around a $25 million dead cap hit in 2026? I don't know. We'll see. But they
Yeah.
are screwed for at least the next 2 years cap wise.
Yeah, and they gotta somehow find a way to work out a trade. The question is, where does he go and who wants to trade for him? They're gonna have to take on some money regardless. They gotta chalk it up as a L. We made the wrong decision. We thought Kirk was gonna be ready for give us at least a good year. It wasn't. It was the wrong decision. They just gotta take their L and move on. And I'm trying to think of teams because it's not a strong quarterback class in the draft outside of Shador and Cam Ward. If you're a Cam Ward fan, and I'm not even the biggest Shador fan. I don't think he's gonna be
He's
this.
nice. Leadership is just an issue for me with him.
That's the thing. As an NFL franchise quarterback,
Yeah.
your kind of attitude and the way you carry yourself has got to change. But that's besides the point. Outside of the top two quarterbacks in the NFL draft that teams may be after, obviously Sam Darnold's going to be more sought after than
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins this offseason. I mean, Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins. I mean, Daniel Jones is going to be a whole lot cheaper,
That's
so
true.
there he's not very high on a lot of, the rankings as far as free agency quarterbacks that are available, or if you want to go young and in the draft. So, I mean, I don't think the Jets would do it. The Giants, I feel like, are in position to draft a quarterback, so I don't think they would do it. I don't think the Raiders would do it because they're in a position to draft a quarterback. The 49ers, maybe? I don't, if they want to just completely be done with Brock Purdy and go cheap at the quarterback and keep their kind of expiring weapons, maybe Kirk Cousins there, but I think they would be more suitors for Sam Darnold, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, Kirk Cousins he has the no trade clause, so he has to agree to it. And right now, isn't he supposed to be in the ideal spot in Atlanta, in Georgia? His wife is from
yeah,
Georgia. This is supposed to be the place where he can retire and be happy forever. And after a year, he's going to have to go somewhere else. And he's going to have to agreed to going somewhere else. And
Yeah.
you know what? Honestly, though, I can see him agreeing to a trade just because of the shame that he has. And you know he's got it, SK, with
Yeah.
a backup quarterback with the QB2 coming in. And for a healthy Kirk Cousins, you're just not good enough anymore. That's something that he's always wanted to avoid, which is why he got that in Minnesota with Sean Mannion. And with that
Mhm.
shame now, he's going to be open to playing for the Jets or the Raiders.
I mean, he kinda has
I
no
think.
option. He has to
Yeah.
go who's gonna give you an opportunity to play. If you wanna be a backup
Yeah.
somewhere and just earn your money, I'm sure there's plenty of teams that will take you as a backup. But, we got our first super chat, Too Evil to
Nice.
Hope. And
Too
look, I
evil.
wouldn't normally put this comment up because Too Evil likes to troll with McCarthy, and he knows me and Rap are big McCarthy fans and
I'm on
Randy now as well.
I'm a bandwagon now. I joined
So
late. I see
I
the vision.
gotta read it. I don't want to, but it said Two Eagle says cut McCarthy because we got our guy in Darnold Schwarzenegger. Good to see you, SK and Randy, man. Shout out to Evil for the first super chat, man. We appreciate you, my
Appreciate
guy.
you.
Always coming through. But no, man, that it's gonna be very difficult for Kirk to find a place to fit in for a team that actually wants him, that's gonna actually trade for him and take on some of that money. So I just don't see where he's gonna go.
And you
I
know what
mean,
the best part of this is? It's not our problem.
nope.
We're good. The Falcons, they're going to have to deal with cap ramifications if they do end up finding a trade partner for him. We're dealing with the cap ramifications right now of Kirk Cousins. And we're about to possibly get the 1 seed in the conference. And then next year and beyond, we're free. We're free. We're good. We can make plays in free agency and continuing to build this roster and get better and better. Oh man, that just feels so good to no longer be part of this mess. What?
Yeah.
Hey,
One more time for Kirk Cousins being cut, man. No, nothing personal, Kirk, but it's a soft spot for us Vikings fans. But yeah, I had to break that little tidbit of news. I knew it'd be a little topic of conversation for a little bit. But back to the Vikings.
yep,
Back to the real, I'm not gonna say problem at hand, but situation at hand that we have with this number 1 seed. Like I said, 12-2, tied with the Lions and the Eagles atop the NFC. Lions own the tiebreaker right now, but obviously we play them in week 18. If we win out, we get the 1 seed.
that's it.
So, I mean, where are we at, man? We got 3 tough games. We don't have a baby schedule coming up. We got Seahawks in Seattle. We've lost 5 in a row in Seattle. Then we have the Packers at home, and then we got Detroit in Detroit.
So I was with the Seattle playing in Seattle. That's tough. Something's off about Seattle, but you know what? If you're not a good football team and Geno Smith is dealing with some sort of injury where there's a chance that he doesn't play in this upcoming game versus the Vikings, you know what? I think the Vikings they get it done. Like the old way of thinking, yeah, they lost what'd you say the last 5 straight in
5
Seattle?
straight in Seattle. We
Yeah,
got one in Minnesota, but 5 straight in Seattle.
that's the old Vikings.
Yeah.
I talked about how the past doesn't matter anymore and all the PTSD and how this Vikings team 2024 they're erasing all of that stuff and it's almost like a rebirth of
Mhm.
the Vikings as a franchise. Like all that stuff in the past doesn't even apply to what's happening right now. I think they get the win in Seattle. I think they win big. Well, not big. Let me take that back. I think they win in a convincing fashion by at least 10 points.
Okay. And it seems like we're kind of, and this is not necessarily a good thing,
Mhm.
but we're kind of fitting into we play up to our competition, we play down to our competition a little bit at times, which you can kind of say the Tennessee game a little bit for a while there.
Yeah.
You can say the Jacksonville game, obviously. But when we come across these teams that we feel like are good teams that we need to come out and play our best football with, we usually do. And we came out, I mean, again, the Bears aren't a very good team at all. But I know that KOC and this coaching staff and probably the players too, they understood This is a divisional rival. I know they're 4-9 or something at the time. Now they're 4-10. I know this is a tough team regardless. We cannot get complacent. We got to come out here and we got to take care of business. And that's what they did. But I'm with you. I agree. This isn't the same Vikings team. And they have an opportunity here. And it started with the Bears game, obviously. Don't have a mucky, ugly game with the Bears on Monday night because that's what we're used to. We're used to seeing ugly, yucky games against the Bears, and we barely win those, or sometimes we come up short on those. Cross that off the list. Next on the list, go to Seattle, a place you haven't won the past 5 times. Take care of business against a playoff team. They're a playoff team right now. I think they're 8-6. Or you know what? They might be just on the outside because the
Rams might have it right now.
The Rams have are the 4 seed right now. And they have the tie, but they play the Rams again this season. So they can very well be in the playoffs, whether it be a wild card or for their division, because Commanders are hanging on to that last wild card spot as well. So you got a playoff team in Seattle. You got to win in a place you haven't won in a long time. Check that off the list if you can do that. Then you got the Packers. When's the last time we swept the Packers? I think it's been.
You got that first win at Lambeau.
We got the first win at Lambeau.
Now
last time you swept the Packers, it's been a while. It's been a while since we swept the Packers. I think 2017 might have been the last time we swept them. So you have a chance to sweep the Packers. And then you come down to the last game against Detroit, everything's on the line. It's a playoff game.
Yep.
Because you're either winning that and you're getting the first seed, the Super Bowl goes through US Bank Stadium and you get the bye, or you go into that game and you lose and you're playing next week on the road.
Right.
And probably back in LA, place we lost last time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if I'm being honest, if you can get through Seattle and Green Bay, I'm confident we take care of Detroit. I think the Seattle games and the Green Bay games, those are going to be a tougher game than that Detroit game, in my opinion. That's not due to saying their coach isn't good or their team isn't good, just injury-wise. And I think we got a chip on our shoulder, and we felt like we had them last time. We had them. And we've been waiting for that matchup. You've been hearing it in locker room interviews. I think Byron Murphy said, I'm tired of hearing about the Lions. Like, they need to start talking about us. So we've been waiting on that matchup. So if you can get through Seattle on the road, if you can beat Green Bay in US Bank Stadium, then I think we take care of the Lions, and you're the number 1 seed in the NFC.
I think it happens, man. Because then if you beat Seattle, you beat Green Bay, then there's another history that the Vikings will have to overcome, which I think they will. It's being prepared the next game after an emotional victory. And I mean, the opportunity to sweep Green Bay is huge, to where if you're able to do that, I mean, this is our number 1 rival of all time. And if you're able to sweep them, the dopamine hit that's going to provide is going to be crazy. Can they overcome that to then go on the road to Detroit and get that victory, to get that first round bye and have the playoffs go through your house? I mean, this is the new Vikings. And you know what? And I'm going to say this. The chance that they don't get the 1 seed, because I don't want this to just build up to where it's 1 seed or bust. Yeah. Even if they don't make it, they get a loss. 1 loss out of their last 3 games, and they're out of it. Man, the way this team plays, the way they're built, I don't even know if they have a true identity, a true way of winning every single game. It's just, they just adjust. And so if they have to go on the road against, I think right now it's the Rams, as you mentioned. Yeah, they lost earlier in the season, but they have film on that previous game that they can learn from. The point is, they can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter. Obviously, you want the 1 seed, but let's not. If they don't get the 1 seed, I don't want this to be oh, come on, you screwed up, the season's over. It's not over. Okay, it's just a bigger challenge moving forward. They're still going to be contenders. This is a damn good football team.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions drop one of their next 2 games. I mean, they're that banged up. David Montgomery was extremely important to that offense. Now, we all know how good Jahmyr Gibbs is. I don't think he's a full-time back. He's that change of pace guy. He kind of needs to be paired with somebody. But that David Montgomery loss and that McNeil loss are huge for the Lions. And they're coming up, I think, who they play this week? They play the Bears, which
at Soldier Field.
they should take care of the Bears. But again, the Bears
divisional game.
You're sounding like me now, Randy. Divisional game. Those are tough sometimes. It's on the road. It's in Soldier Field. So they should have beat them the first time in Detroit on Thanksgiving. So you never know. And then you have the 49ers, which they're hanging
at
on
Levi
by a
Stadium.
thread. Yeah, at Levi Stadium, they're hanging on by a thread. So if they win this week against the Dolphins, they'll still be in that playoff mix and they'll need that win. So I expect the 49ers to be fighting in that game. And then obviously they have us at the end of the season. But 49ers and Bears, those aren't going to be easy games for the Detroit Lions. I guarantee you. And I feel like their morale is down and they're feeling, I think is it 13 of their defenders are on IR right now. That's just the defensive side of the ball.
And they just lost 3 starters this last game.
And lost 3 starters. So it's wide open, man. You control your own destiny. This is exactly where you want to be. And who would have thought? Hey, just like that meme with Paul Rudd on Hot Ones. Hey, look at us. Look at us.
I know.
Like, who would have thought? Like, we're 12-2, have the opportunity to finish the season 15-2 and be the number 1 seed in the NFC, man. It's got to feel great as a Vikings fan. So,
and I would imagine next week at Soldier Field, it's going to be cold as hell there.
Yeah, are you looking up the weather?
Well, I don't need to look up the weather. I did for Levi
I know
Stadium.
it's going to be cold.
I did for Levi. Soldier Field in December, it's going to be cold as hell. And then going to that next game, December 30th in Santa Clara. So it's going to be, it's estimated it's going to be around a high of 62 degrees, but 14% chance of rain, which means it's going to rain.
Yeah,
like
so
anything over 5%, I'm like, all right, it's going to rain at some point.
So the Bears game has a high of 31 degrees that day.
So boy, them tackles are going to hurt. Dudes can't catch the ball.
Cold.
Yep, it's going to be rough.
So at the time of kickoff, it's going to be about 24.
Hey, you know what? Sizzlin Seven, I'm going to put it in advance. Bears get the win.
Is that your lock of the week?
Bears get the win.
Oh man, so it's exciting, man. We got a lot out in front of us. It's crazy how quick this season has gone.
Yeah.
We got 3 regular season games left, but we got more football to play after that, which you got to be excited about as a Vikings fan. One thing I want to touch on kind of real quick, we don't have to spend too much time, and this is an important part for not just the offense, but this entire team is, in my opinion, from what I've seen, Aaron Jones looks like he's got his confidence back. Now, I think that's also due to these past couple weeks. We've limited his touches, and it looks like we're starting to give Cam Akers some more run. I think we gave Cam Akers maybe three full possessions, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure on the exact carries that we gave him. He got a touchdown. He got in the end zone late in that game to kind of seal it and put it away. But it looks like Aaron Jones has got his confidence back, and he's looking fresh. He's looking a whole lot more explosive. What do you think on that? I mean, is that what you observed from Aaron Jones, or you still think he's struggling a little bit?
I'm taking it on a week-by-week basis.
Okay.
For Aaron Jones. I've learned by now the way that this season has gone. He's been hot and cold, that at least for me anyway, there's no way that you can truly say that I can truly say, okay, he's all the way back. We've got the Green Bay version of Aaron Jones. So, I mean, if he keeps playing well, great. But I'm just one of those, hey, whatever I get from this guy, it's a bonus.
I think that's touchdowns. Is it back-to-back weeks or 3 weeks in a row for him? I know he got one last week, but did he get one a week before that? So he got this week. He got last week against
the Falcons. No, so he had, out of his last 4 games, he's had 3 touchdowns. He didn't have one against Arizona. He did have back-to-back touchdowns last night. the Falcons last week, and then before that, the last time that the Vikings played the Bears on November 24th. So
Okay.
4 out of the last 4 games, he's had 3 scores.
And let's not forget last year, he was banged up for the Packers. He came back, I think, the last 2 weeks of the season, 2 or 3 weeks of the season, and he was dominant throughout the
He was.
playoffs.
He was.
So I think KOC kind of knew that, and he remembered that from last year and said, "Okay, let's kind of take some carries away from him. Let's kind of keep him in the back a little bit, let him rest up for the playoffs. And then once playoffs comes around, if we need to run the ball, we need to run the ball." But what I'm most impressed about is that when it came down to, hey, we got the game in hand, let's just run it down their throat and end this game and chew this clock, we're able to do that. So I think that's definitely a confidence booster. Brick by Brick says, I think it's less about Jones and more about the offensive line. That could be true, which
That's fair.
Bradbury, man, Bradbury was getting molested again last night. He was getting manhandled again last night. I know we had a good day on the ground for the most part, but that interior offensive line struggled last
I
night,
mean,
to say the
Cam,
least.
Brandel, and
Brando,
Bradbury, they all were ass last night.
yeah.
I need Blake Brandel to get a jump start. I feel like the last couple of weeks it's been rough for him after having a great start to the season. I need him to bounce back and get confidence again in myself that he's going to be the left guard of the future. But Garrett Bradbury is Garrett Bradbury
Yeah.
at this point. And I mean, that goes back to the bigger picture. And I don't not to deviate from the joy that we're having right now,
Mhm.
but we had this situation with Kirk Cousins, the conversation of Sam Darnold slash JJ McCarthy. You signed Sam Darnold to a market level contract. Well, that money is going to be limited after the first year where you can, all right, we'll drop it down to like the Baker Mayfield contract, like $6.5 million cap hit the first year, but then the following 2 years, it's 35, 45 plus $1 million in cap hits. You're going to have to keep Garrett Bradbury. You're not going to be able to
Yeah.
sign any free agents, star free agent centers, or anybody else for that matter. This team is as good as it's going to be with that sort of contract with that quarterback. But Bradbury's Bradbury, bro. Like, I'm
Yeah.
over it. I don't even have the energy anymore to just be like, oh, what the hell? What the F? Come on, man, get your stuff. Nah, man, he's just ass. And
We know what he
hopefully
is.
we know what he is. And hopefully we can finally address that position next offseason.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm sure it's obvious to the coaching staff and to the front office of, hey, Bradbury's struggling down inside. But again, I agree with you. We know what Bradbury is, but it's still every time I think, I'm always looking ahead to, okay, if we have to play these Eagles in the playoffs, man, that defensive front
Yeah.
is a problem. So every time I see Bradbury getting blown up by some no name on the defensive line of an opposing team, I'm like, oh God, if we have to play the Lions, it might, or if we have to play the Eagles, it might get rough on their interior offensive line there. But I trust KOC in this scheme and his preparation going into games. So it hasn't really hampered us yet this season. I don't think we've had a game to where we're just like, oh my God, just the interior offensive line is just absolutely terrible where it cost us a game. So, we're getting by. We're getting by. But every team has a weakness. Every team, has a strength. So it is what it is. But that brings us to our Sizzlin Seven. Anything else you want to touch on, whether it be the Bears game or the Seahawks game?
No, not at all. Bears, we whooped that ass. Sweep. We're over it. Moving on. Seattle, I got the Vikings winning. Nah, we good.
We
Let's get
good.
to the Sizzling Seven, or at least for me, last week, I'm gonna call it the Fizzling Seven because
Fizzling
that was
Seven.
awful.
There we go.
It's crazy, bro. I can legit make bets or like make picks with the Vikings in their games specifically when you're so in tune with a team like we
Yeah.
are. Like you have an idea of what is going to happen each and every game that I
Yeah.
can make those picks. But when it comes to just picks around the league and who's gonna. It's like
The
all right,
Colts and the
man.
Cardinals. Who's gonna?
Yeah. Yeah. Anthony Richardson. Maybe he'll have a good game once in a
Rich
while. I
gang.
don't know. Yeah. I'm so glad we dodged that bullet, man. You remember
Oh man.
how eager Vikings fans were to
Oh.
draft Anthony Richardson?
Oh
What?
man. Don't worry, guys. We got the right one. JJ
We got
McCarthy's
him.
gonna come in. Don't even
got
trip.
him.
But going back to last week, just to recap, Rap isn't here. There's no reason for him to be here because he wasn't gonna bask about anything anyways. He thinks he's gonna go 7-0 every week.
Mhm.
Sorry, Rap, you didn't go 7-0 this week. We do gotta get his picks eventually though. So when we put the games up, we'll make sure to get Rap's picks in, and we'll throw them up before we announce them next week or something. But going a recap real quick. LA at San Francisco. Me and Randy got that one. Rap went with San Francisco. For Miami versus the Texans, me and Rap went Texans. Green Bay at Seattle. Rap went Green Bay in that one. Me and Randy went Seattle. Bucks versus Chargers. We all went Chargers, and the Bucks whooped that ass. Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. Me and Randy went Pittsburgh. Rap went Philadelphia. Got that one for us. Bills at Detroit. Me and Randy went Bills. Rap went Detroit. And then obviously Chicago at Minnesota. We all went Minnesota. So for the week, Rap went 4-3. I went 4-3. Randy, you went 3-4.
So still close. Still close, but
Still
it's
close.
like, yeah, I gotta go 7-0 the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
To
You
avoid that
need a
Sean
Hail
Mannion
Mary.
jersey.
You need a Hail Mary here. So bringing our full total to, where is it? Next page. We got the Sean Mannion jersey loading up for you, Randy.
Did you guys already get that in advance, or you have the page saved?
We have
For
something
if I do
special
end up
for you,
losing.
man. We got something special for you. Might not even be a jersey. Might just be like a, who knows? Who knows what it'll be? Might not even be Sean Mannion. Might be a Jaron Hall jersey.
Hey, I'll wear that. That's fine. I'll wear it with pride. Might get it framed. That's not a punishment.
You can probably get a sign for pretty cheap too.
I'll take it.
So our total records come. Randy, you're sitting at 55-50. Rap is 63-42, and I'm 65-40. So I'm still holding that 2-game lead on Rap there, but it's getting close.
All right,
but it's not looking good for Randy. Not looking good for Randy.
3
But
weeks.
moving on to week 16, this is your chance. You can get right back into it. Our Sizzlin 7 first game on the docket. We're going to go Broncos at Chargers. A lot of playoff implications, and it's a Thursday night. I'm going to go so you can possibly catch up. I'm going to go Chargers here.
I'm actually going to make this pick against my ego and my pride. My Bo Nix agenda has failed. Like, he's been pretty solid. He hasn't been great.
He
like
threw for like 120 yards or something.
He has a great defense and a good, solid run game, and he has some pretty good receivers, Cortland Sutton. And Sean Payton, when he's not a pompous ass, he can kind of make things work for an offense. Bo Nix hasn't been a disaster, and they've been pulling out wins from their ass. I'm going to go ahead and say Denver. They get this win.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go Chargers. And you're going Denver.
That's right.
Okay.
Bo Nix.
Next game on the docket, we have Texans at Chiefs. I think Mahomes is gonna play. And this is a Saturday night game. Who you got?
Chiefs. Even if you don't get a full strength Patrick Mahomes, you're going to get a full strength officiating crew. That's always going to help them out. So I'm going to say Chiefs.
Yo, it's a tough one.
And they're going up against the Texans. They've been inconsistent. Like, all right, fine. They just beat the bum ass Dolphins.
They have.
They lose to everybody.
I'm gonna go Houston. I'm gonna give you a chance here.
All right.
I'm gonna go Houston. So Randy goes KC. Popular pick there. I just think KC trips up somewhere. They trip up somewhere, and I think this might be the one. And I'm even like banking on maybe they sit Mahomes and it's Carson Wentz playing.
Well, see,
So-
then that changes everything then. Because if Carson Wentz does end up playing, then I'm obviously going to take the tech. All right, let me do this. All right. So this is a caveat.
Okay.
The Chiefs, that's my pick. But
Okay.
if they make
If Mahomes
the change,
plays.
if Mahomes plays, if
Okay.
Wentz plays, Texans. Like that has to be, I gotta have that out.
Okay.
I'm not going to be trapped in the corner of Carson Wentz.
It's
No.
early in the week. I'll put that down in the notes. All right. Next one. Another Saturday matchup. Steelers at Ravens.
Steelers.
Going Steelers?
Yeah.
I'm going
I'ma do it.
Ravens.
They tend to struggle against Pittsburgh.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And that matchup's for the division more than likely.
Divisional game. They're
I think
always tough.
Steelers beat them already once this year, right?
They
If
did.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore there.
Okay.
Next matchup. Let's go Eagles at Commanders.
Eagles.
Yeah, I gotta go Eagles too. As much as it pains me, man, motherfuckers look good right now.
Commanders, they're in
let's
a rut.
Four.
Rookie quarterback. They'll figure it out.
Got two more. Let's go. We're gonna have a toilet bowl somewhere in here. But let's do Lions Bears.
Bears.
Bears?
What do you say, 28 degrees? They're banged
24,
up.
yeah.
24 degrees. It's going to be windy in the windy city. The Lions, they're banged up. That's tough. Tough to overcome.
All right.
Give me the Bears.
I think it's going to be very close, and I think the Bears will have a chance to win it. But a loser's a loser, man.
You're doing the SK thing. You're just doing what you do.
The Bears are losers. Okay. There's a SK thing.
Yeah, that's what you do. Every game is going to be tough. Can never take a team lightly. It's going to be really close, but you know what? I think the better team is going to win. Nah, man.
Most of the time, I'm right though.
Yeah, maybe, but this one, I don't know. Indoor team playing outside, outdoors.
They don't have half of their running game. I get it. I get it. I completely understand it. It's more about the Bears than it is about the Lions in this game. And the Bears are losers. And when you got that loser juice on you, that stank juice, it's hard to get it off of you. Like they're just prone to losing. They find ways to lose. So
they're playing.
I gotta go Detroit here.
They're playing contracts. These players, they know their season is over with SK. So now they're like, all right, I just got to ball out in case I do get cut. Or if I'm going to be a free agent, I can get signed somewhere else. They're going to have a resurgence this week. It's going to happen.
Not you hyping up the Bears right now. They're going to come back this week.
The Bears.
This is their Super Bowl, is what you're saying.
Yeah. This is it.
This is it.
To be spoilers? Hell yeah. This is what they're made for.
Yeah, spoil it. Spoil it for these Lions. Please do. Please do. That'd be lovely. Next game. All right, this is gonna be our toilet bowl. Let's go. I wouldn't necessarily as a toilet bowl. Rams at the Jets.
At the Jets.
Yep.
Big Jets win. He's playing more loose now that the season's over with. Devontae Adams is balling out. I'm gonna say Jets.
Okay. I'm going Rams here. I think Rams are rolling. Jets had a nice little game last week, kind of lost me my fantasy league again for my second reference on the fantasy league. But Devontae Adams going for 52 points kind of screwed me over. And I hate the Jets now, and I hate Devontae Adams. But I think the Rams are just rolling, man. I think
Okay.
they are looking like they're primed for the playoffs. They're healthy again. They got both of their receivers back. I think they're rolling. I think they take care of the Jets. They might even blow them out. It might be an ugly game for the Jets. So I'm going to Rams there. And then obviously the big one, Vikings at the Seahawks. This is an afternoon kickoff, or for some of you guys, evening kickoff. 4:05 on the East Coast. Who we got, man? Or did Rap have this one as a loss, or did you have this one as a loss?
I originally had this
Okay.
as a loss, but with Seattle not near, I think the Packers Seahawks game really said a lot for me, or told me a lot. Whereas the Packers, they were in control. They dominated Seattle for
Mhm.
that game at Seattle. And I'm like, you know what? That whole aura of, hey, it's always tough in Seattle, I think that's over with. Just like how the Vikings, they're the new 12, and this is a new time for Vikings football. And Seattle, they're just not a good team. So I'm gonna make that switch, and I'm gonna say the Vikings win.
There we go. Yeah, I got the Vikings too, man. Look, Seattle's a dangerous team nonetheless, but Geno's banged up. I just feel like there's always something, the inconsistency with Seattle. You don't ever know what you're gonna get. Sometimes they come out and Geno looks like a top 5 quarterback, and then you come out the next week and Geno looks like the old Geno. So
Right.
I just think the inconsistencies with Seattle is just too much for them. And this is the year of the Minnesota Vikings kind of breaking the trend of what the fan base is used to. And I think this is just another trend that's going to be broken. Obviously, the one last week or yesterday with the Bears on Monday night, you took care of business. You won by 18 points. Um, beating a team by more than one possession. We've done that multiple times this year. Like, it's just trend after trend that the Minnesota Vikings are breaking. I think this is another one that we break. Beating beating the Seahawks in Seattle, and I'm gonna take my normal SK take. It's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a close game, but it is. Every game's gonna be tough. Everything's gonna be close. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings come out and they're on fire. Just, I mean, we almost saw it last night against the Bears. We had that forced fumble, that strip sack by Grenard on the first possession. Should have been a return for a touchdown if Van Ginkel could have made that block. Ended up with only getting a field goal there. Then the next possession, you come down. I think we got a touchdown on the next possession, if I wasn't mistaken. Made it 10-0. Then the following possession should have been a touchdown to Justin Jefferson if he didn't drop it. You're looking at a 17-0 game right there. At home, that place is rocking. 17 points down. The Bears are at that point, they might be tapping out. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings go into Seattle and they come out on fire, and we do jump out to a 17-0 lead, 20-1, 20-0 lead, 21-0 lead. So that wouldn't surprise me. But again, it's NFL, it's Seattle. Seattle's fighting for their playoff life right now, so you're going to get their best shot. Geno's banged up though. I think Minnesota wins. I'm going to say 32-24. 32-24 Vikings win.
Okay. I'm gonna say 27. 27-17.
27-17.
Yep.
Okay. So 10-point win. I got an 8-point win, one possession win. So yeah, I think we feel good about that. Moving to 13-2.
Yep.
And then all you gotta do is take care of your two divisional rivals in the Packers and the Lions, and you're the number 1 seed. That's it. Simple as that.
That's all.
No biggie.
They
Just
got
us
it
breaking trends
all year long.
all year long. So yeah, man, you gotta love it. Gotta feel good about this team. I'm excited about this team. I know everybody that's tapping in with us tonight is excited about this team. We appreciate you guys tapping in on this Tuesday night. I know it may have thrown off a lot of people's schedule. It threw off our schedule. But hey, it's just one time. Hopefully, we don't get one of those weird Monday night playoff games or whatever to where it doesn't throw our schedule off again. But yeah, man, anything you want to leave the people before we get out of here?
It's a great ride, man. We out here Change is here, not even coming. It has arrived. It's a new era of Vikings football. I'm excited. Every single week, it's like, damn, they did that. I'm not used to seeing that. And we're here. This is a damn good team. And if they don't get the 1 seed, it's still good. They're in a great spot. They're 12-2. I had them being 11-6. I was about to say unbelievable. 1 game over that, but there's a chance that they go 15-2. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe worst case 14-3. Hey man, we chilling. We ready.
We're big chilling. We're big chilling right now. So, but yeah, man, thank you guys for tapping in with us here on the Purple Parlor. Rap will be back next week, so we'll have the 3 amigos back together. But again, thank you guys for tapping in. If you don't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button to our YouTube channel. As well, we are on TikTok and Instagram. Make sure you give us a follow on there. On TikTok, I believe it's Purple Parlor 4. On Instagram, it's Purple Parlor 1. So make sure you hit that follow button. And then we're obviously on Spotify. I'm starting to get used to saying this now. We're on Spotify. If you weren't able to catch our video and you just want the audio recordings of it, go ahead and head over to Spotify. Give us a follow on there. Get those downloads up. But again, guys, thank you for tapping in. This was the Purple Parlor episode 19. The Vikings are 12-2. Everything's out in front of them. And hopefully we'll be tapping in next week when we'll be talking about 13-2 and 2 more games to get it done in these playoffs. So again, thank you guys for tapping in. It is your boy SK here with Realistic Randy. This is the Purple Parlor. Until next time, peace and Skol Vikings.
I say the same. I say the same. I say the same.